Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another night, Playday number 7 of Rainbow Six Siege Challenger League for Season 10 in the APAC region, the ANZ qualifier to be exact. I am Matty B, and I am joined by Raven, and this evening we have one best of two matchup to go through today for you, and it's a banger, isn't it, mate?
It is definitely going to be a banger, especially Cryptic are fighting for staying in the running for Pro League. If they get both these maps tonight, they're definitely still in with a chance to make Pro League, so they have everything on the line.
Yeah, everything on the line for them. They have to win all four of their remaining maps, to finish off the season, to just have the chance of qualifying. A couple of results to have to go their way. Of course, around the other side of the board, Team 53, not quite there, unfortunately, but, still a chance to cause a few upsets in the back end of the season.
Yeah, they definitely can. They can pull it out. They've still got some good players, and like you said, they can cause some upsets. If they take a map off Cryptic, they can end Cryptic's Pro League run, even if they can't make it themselves. So, look, something's dangerous about a team that doesn't have anything to lose.
Yeah, and, speaking of the danger these teams possess, let's just quickly run through the players we'll be seeing in action this evening. Team 53, lining up Johnstar, PRXZ, Sphinx, Hamya, Getovet. Those five players, not quite showing us what they could really do this season, unfortunately. But, let's see what type of shape they can give against this Cryptic lineup.
Yeah, they haven't really had much of a showing so far, but Cryptic has definitely got a lot of names that people will know from the last Pro League season. We are seeing Anglo playing instead of striking tonight, though, so that is a change to Cryptic's lineup just for this playday. Not really sure the story behind that, but hopefully it doesn't spell doom for them. That's definitely a variable that I think a lot of people wouldn't have been expecting.
And what kind of impact do you think, like, having Anglo coming in now, that could have on Cryptic, especially in this important end of season run for them, for very crucial maps to get through? What's that going to do for them, do you think?
Yeah, striking has been a very good player for his team, and he's also, from what we understand, the IGL or does a lot of shot calling. So, not having him actually in playing could definitely impact their performance in some way. So, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully they can still pull it out because it's going to set up a great final fight on Thursday between Cryptic and Rhythm for that final spot, provided that Cryptic do win these two maps.
Yeah, and two maps we'll be seeing this evening. We'll just take a look at where we've ended up for tonight's play. Looking at where we're going, first map, Consulate. How does that bode for you in the lead up to this one?
Consulate definitely is a map that Cryptic have played well on in the past. I think this is something that Cryptic have leaned the veto towards. So yeah, I'm going to say this is definitely favoring Cryptic because it does require a bit of strategy and a bit of structure. And you'd say that Team 53 being a younger side, less experienced, that's going to work against their playstyle. I think that'll definitely be apparent on attack. So yeah, definitely going with Cryptic on this first one.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you in that sentiment as well. I think how they've played so far this season. They're very much with a shake, and this is a very important game for them. I think they're going to leave nothing in the tank in these next four maps over the next couple of play days for them. Any final words for us before we jump in? Anything we could look at for Team 53 at the very least?
I think they're just going to have to throw everything to the wind and just go hard. I think Cryptic are going to be expecting the classic structured kind of playstyle that you would see at this kind of level. And I think something that can really destabilize that is when teams play a much more loose playstyle. It can be a little harder to predict. I think that is what Team 53 will need to maybe lean on a bit towards Cryptic just to try and destabilize them. That being said, though, Cryptic can be relatively good at that themselves with some pretty loose fraggers such as JCZ. So yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for Team 53 to pull this out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see that sort of play as well, where playing that faster, less structured style, I mean, it really lets you get right up in the face of the opposition. It'll be curious to see how they try and pull that one off as well and really make them uncomfortable. As Consulate is where we're going to begin our evening, and let's get right into it, mate. What are we expecting to
Yes.
see here from this band stage?
Look, I think that a hard breacher is relatively common on Consulate to take off, mainly for that Courage attack can make it a lot trickier. Other than that, we've been seeing a lot of Thatcher bans lately, so I wouldn't be too surprised if one of these teams pull out a Thatcher ban because it does make things just that little bit trickier on attack to get things done because it's harder to clear the utility.
And you see that straight away.
It is.
Great
There it
call
is.
there. Right? I do agree with you on that sentiment as well. I feel like getting Thatcher off the board straight off the bat, it really gives you a little bit more freedom on your defense at the very least as well. And with Team 53 having to start on that defense, that's really going to be handy for them in the back end. But I feel like that's going to allow Cryptic to be more aggressive when they hit that defensive side.
Absolutely. And Nomad is another common ban that we've seen on Consulate before. Some of the stairwells are very easy to rotate up. Late flanks, for example, on the defense. So Nomad is a great operator to guard against that.
Yes. So pretty much stock standard so far. I mean, on our defensive side, again, I think we're going to see more of the same than what we usually, wouldn't you think?
I definitely do. And look, Echo is into that default kind of defense ban these days. Wouldn't be too surprised the other one's a mirror. If it's not, yeah, there it is. Yeah, look, Echo Mirror, very, very, very common defense bans these days. I'd be surprised if they aren't the defense bans.
Well, pretty stock standard story to start us off here. Maybe the players can give us a little bit more in the server as we're going to get ourselves started on the first round. And this is a chance for Team 53, you have to say, to maybe try and show a bit of intent here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they need to just come out of the gate swinging. They are on defense, which most teams will find that's where they're most comfortable. So this is their chance now in this first half just to absolutely throw it at Cryptic, because if they can shake them off their game early, they're just going to have a better chance to stay in the game throughout the duration of the map.
Looking at the picks here, we do have the Sledge being sixth out here, potentially. I'm going to stay on the line. Very fast, hard-hitting, attacking setup here you see from the boys on Cryptic. You got the IQ, the Buck, Thermite, Sledge, and Zafia. Are we seeing a rush potentially here?
I would say that's a very risky play for the first round, but maybe that could be Cryptic deciding to throw it to the wind. But it is an aggressive lineup, that's for sure. IQ, definitely an important operator on Consulate because there's so much utility that can be helpful. Usually Valkyrie cams, and it's actually an interesting point that we're not seeing a Valkyrie picked out by the defense here. They've actually gone with an alibi as, I guess you could say, a form of intel, but that in itself is also an aggressive operator. So I'm thinking that maybe there's going to be some kind of hard roam here.
Roam could be quite useful as well in that second floor. You have to think, just try and take away a bit of early knowledge from Cryptic. I mean, once they sort of get this basic offense set up here, I think they're going to very quickly realize that we're going to be up top there in the presidential suite. You look at this Hamyo, already hard roaming around, downstairs, looking towards the garage. And very fast, they're already looking to take admin control early.
There's the first Prisma coming into play as well. It was pre-fired there, pointing out these positions of the attackers. So the defense will now be aware that they are doing an admin push, and it's something that the defense can move around. And Johnson playing, again, this aggressive position with these alibi Prismas here, trying to get a peek, and ADS is there to save him. He will get concussed, but the shield is still up. This is a good start from Cryptic, actually. It's the first minute, and they're already in pushing aggressive onto this alibi.
They've already got a fantastic bit of info. They know exactly where it is, and that's going to be Jam finding the opener there. Johnster, the one to drop. Trying a bit too hard there, maybe to just get a bit of early information for his side, and he gets it at the very least, but already two very quick kills. Hot shot looking to double down as he takes this fight, but still, it's going to be Jam trading out straight away, and a massive advantage early on for Cryptic in the round.
That was a really great entry from Cryptic. They droned that out beautifully and pushed it perfectly. It was really great teamwork. They pinched that mute in that position. So even though they did lose that buck, they refragged it instantly. So that's really great from Cryptic. And Hamyo is still out on this roam. So if they haven't droned that out, that really could come back to bite them. He could get a really devastating flank. And that's going to be the deciding thing of this round. I think if Hamyo gets shut off site and this smoke is isolated, which he is under fire, Ghetto Vet is taken down now. This Jam on the triple, and it's all up to Hamyo. He's found himself in the private bathroom here, and this is all Cryptic's round at this stage as Serum will start to plant.
Yeah, it's pretty much an impossible ask from there. Just spots the Zafia making the cross. Jam getting spotted out. Might find himself a quad for the round off the back of that one, as just absolutely pinned down in the private bathroom here. Can't push forward at the moment. They're not really giving him too much. Just a soul fight being taken. But at range there, Cryptic locked that one down. A very, very dominant first round for them.
It was. Dominant is a great word because that is exactly what it was. The confidence they had on that initial push, and it just never stopped, really. Nothing really slowed it down. It was just constant progression moving through the defense, and they didn't really seem to have much of a chance. So T53, that's definitely not pulling it out in the first round, and they're going to actually repeat that bomb site for this next round.
I wonder how that alibi trick's going to work out for them. If they're going to continue something similar, or if it's going to be a bit of a shake-up in this time around. I mean, it was a really good piece of early information. They found out straight away a couple of players entering in from admin. That is a stock standard take, though, on that sort of execute you see from an offensive team. So, I mean, it didn't really do too much for them in the end. It was very early for the Cryptic guys to then isolate the alibi, and Johnston was punished swiftly. So, curious to see how he plays off this round.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think there's something they need to change about it. And it's basically that once they had the intel, their position was flushed out really quickly. And that came down to some really efficient use of utility by Cryptic. And it's not something that Team 53 reacted to. So this is their chance now. They have to adapt to this. Otherwise, I think Cryptic will just steamroll through them even quicker than we saw in that first round.
Again, though, we're going to see this roam from Hamyo. If he can have a bit more of an impact around the map, that might do a bit more for them. But it's this admin defense that has me a little bit worried once more. If we see more of the same, then Johnston has to do a job of not finding himself, left alone and unable to rotate out.
And this adaptation's very interesting. They've got Prexy here on the mute. He's playing very aggressive in the middle of admin here. There's a very big chance that maybe a drone won't see him. He's in a dark corner behind that desk. And look, it's not that common that you drone that spot. So Serum is droning through here. He's spotting this alibi, but I don't think he spotted the mute. That drone has gone straight past his feet. And we don't know whether that got spotted or not, but this could be the make or break of the round here. If they're not sure that this mute is here, it's going to be devastating for Cryptic.
We can see Prexy's getting so much information. You can hear these players around him. He spots the initial push coming in through. And oh my god.
Oh, no.
So patient. The trigger discipline coming out right now from this man. He's got two on the line. He sacrifices his teammate. He knows there's two there. And the whiff spray Prexy. He just lets that one fall out of nothing. Hotshot gets away with that one. And a 5-on-2 with almost 2 minutes still left in the round. And that one, you have to think's almost done and dusted unless Thinks pulls off a massive play on the defense.
Oh, Maddie, that's an F in the chat moment right there. And it's not looking great for Team 53 after that. It is all up to Sphinx and Ghetto Vet. They're on great ankle operators, though, as the Maestro and Smoker. They can pull it off as Sphinx hits a nice shot onto JCZ, but he's got many more to find. There is still 4 Cryptic players, in fact, remaining and half the rounds left. It's a big task ahead of him.
Yeah, they just need to be a bit patient. Cryptic in this one just need to work their way across the map, start to isolate things. They're going to open up for a potential one-on-one engagement, but Hotshot too quick on the trigger, locks him out. And it's up to Ghetto Vet there, but unfortunately, at range, Hotshot cleans up.
That could have been such a good round for Team 53. That was a great spot from Prexy, but he missed his shots, man. It's so upsetting. I feel bad for him now. And look, Team 53, they are going to change to a different bomb site after 2 failures in a row.
Oh, I feel so bad for Prexy, dude.
Yeah, man.
I haven't seen anything that rough for a while, but it's all good. Moving downstairs this time around into the lobby. A quick change we see at the death with the potential for the castle here. I thought it was curious to remember that we didn't see, either the Maestro or the Bandit going in towards Garage, but they quickly changed their minds on the bomb site, and this one looks a lot more solid for them, you'd think, on paper at the least.
Yeah, and the operator lineup is quite good for this bomb site. Having the Valkyrie, I think, is something they've probably been missing, is maybe that additional intel. They were opting for that extra aggression, you could say, with the alibi, but it didn't really work out for them, that alibi. It got shut down very quickly. The intel they got from it was kind of meh intel that they could have got from other operators. So I think it's great they've gone to the Valkyrie, and Castle is a really helpful operator for this bomb site. So if they use it to good use, I think this could definitely be a better round for them.
Very volatile setup here for Team 53. Going for that, that vertical defense by the looks of it, at least in terms of positioning. It might just be the Hamyo roam once more. And I feel like, where he's been positioning himself across the round, it's been quite useful for Team 53, in theory of it, but he's been very much out of action for most of the round. So if he can find his way into the contest in the next couple rounds, that might just add a little bit more to the mix here for Team 53.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just it definitely adds on to the fact that their roam has just not worked out at all. It was the admin part of their defense was also, I guess you could say, a close roam, and even the distant roam is Hamyo, yeah, not working out. So he will need to get in the board. And look, Cryptic again. Their time management is fantastic. They've moved into the building very quickly here. They're already poised to take this meeting room. And that's a really critical room to hold this. And if Team 53 aren't ready, which they're potentially not, some shots coming out. There is a trade there between Johnston and Hotshot. It's a 4 versus 4 now. But Cryptic have started to make a lot of control in towards meeting. And again, it is really critical to take this when you're attacking the lobby.
It just really isolates those extra angles that you can see the defense become a nuisance in. This feels like the first time we've seen Team 53 with an advantage in the round, though, as we see Johnster picking up a second for himself in the round and looking for the third, but won't quite win that one, Jam. Levels us up in terms of numbers, but now positioning in a fantastic favor for Cryptic, as we do see Hamio looking to make this rotation in through the lower sanctum.
Is again on the back of Hamio here because he is potentially not droned out, and Cryptic are going to be focusing now on getting this execute ready. Now that they've got the meeting, they can drone out piano, they can drone out the lobby and the bathroom, and they can prepare their execute. But what they probably might not drone out is all the way down that bottom spiral stairwell. So yeah, it really is on the back of Hamio. He can open this round up. It just depends on Cryptic's droning.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Bit of information there for JCZ. Spotting players in the bomb site, and yeah, you can definitely see that Hamio still just holding firmly towards that spiral staircase. A patient roam here could spell the difference, as Anglo looking to be first point of contact in through this main entrance. Ghetto has to be aware of a possibility for that drop in from above, as he does get that piece of information there. I believe that was Anglo with him. It's actually JCZ, the man finding the pick there. Ghetto Vet, the man to fall. A double kill there. Ooh. JCZ allowing the diffuser to go down, and again, Hamio caught away from the site. Now in a 1 versus 3 and needs to find himself some form of rotation here, but they're holding the line, and Cryptic, 3 very sharp rounds, and it's looking very rough for Team 53 right now.
It is, and look, the first half of that round was looking better. They had that man advantage early, and they kind of stopped them from taking meeting by at least halfway stage of the round. But again, Hamio, he was poised to be able to do something there. The vertical player that was still in meeting wasn't aware of him, so all he had to do was come through the statue double door into lobby, and he could have denied that plant from the long angle, and then it definitely would have been a huge advantage for Team 53. But bit of a misplay from him. He rotated away, and yeah, in the end found nothing. So that's 3 rounds that have kind of all just gone by the wayside with little impact from Team 53.
Yeah, I have to feel like as well at the same time, you know, Ghetto Vet's position in that defense there, you know, we very close to that main entrance. He saw that initial piece of information. He saw the player proned outside. It was JCZ. The diffuser was already going down from Anglo, and I think he felt like he had to try and deny that one to allow Hamio to get back into the round, and that's where it sort of just started to snowball out of their favor. Look at that one. What a start for Jam. 5-0.
Yeah, he's having a good game, and that scoreboard just screams domination to me. It's basically Team 53 have a combination of one player of Cryptic's kills, and then that's not even the extent of it for Cryptic. So they are really controlling this game so far, and that is in their attack phase. So this is definitely looking quite grim. For Team 53 here, they have to really pull something different out, and again, I think it's got to come from this roam. It's got to have more of an impact.
Yeah, it's just a little bit lackluster. I feel like it's just these mid-round decisions we're seeing them make in a couple of instances, like, for example, that Get Over It play there trying to deny the plan. Of course, you know, that's obviously what you want to do is try and keep that objective in your favor that late in the round, but Hamio's positioning in terms of that exact moment was just a bit off. He was mid-rotation. I think that's where it's starting to fall apart, is perhaps that comes down to a bit of mid-round communicating and alignment.
Yeah, but we did see some early aggression there from Johnstar. He did take out Serum on the gridlock, so it's a good start from Team 53, but we said that last round and it managed to come back the other way, so we'll wait and see how it goes, but so far so good here, as Johnstar still got himself in a pretty precarious position on that first floor. And they're waiting for this push in the garage here, but it's just not coming in this direction at all. Looks like Cryptic are definitely dedicated to clear some kind of roam and potentially even push the cafeteria side.
Or perhaps maybe they've noticed this play. We've talked about it the last few rounds about, what Hamyo's been doing in the early parts of the round. And this could be something that Cryptic have spotted very early. And so they want to make sure that he doesn't have any room to have that late round impact. And that's why we're seeing these rounds play out the way they have been, as we do see JCZ actually finding Hamyo to level it up before Johnstar. He finds a double kill in the lobby. He drops the diffuser, in fact. Massive advantage for the boys on Team 53, but that damage there, Hotshot able to lock it down. Keeps it controlled somewhat here for Team Cryptic, as still holding a bit of control towards the lobby. All these players now for Team 53 locked in towards the bomb site. This is still going to be a very hard round to finish this execute off on, lacking the numbers and decent defensive positions now for Team 53.
That's right. And Johnson basically has single-handedly opened this round up, getting the 3 picks needed for his team to give them this 3 versus 2 advantage. There is still a minute to go, though, so there's quite a bit of time for 2 very skilled players here on Cryptic, and they look like they're potentially going to do this rear push. I think they're really trying to catch off what T53 are predicting them to do. And this looks like it might be just a straight push down here. They've cut these rotates into the kitchen, and Hotshot is going to drop down. He's pushing straight through, but he doesn't see the Maestro on the other side. Sphinx shuts him down. It's up to JCZ now. He's just going to waste some time for his team, as it's a 1 versus 3, 30 seconds to go, and not a whole lot he can really do at this stage, but besides maybe pulling something out of nowhere.
I think it's a pretty tall order for him. Dropping down, spots out Sphinx there, but the rotations are already coming across there. Too many soft walls, too many angles to deal with. And Team 53, they find their first off the back of that final frag for Prax. And a bit of patience there on their defense that time.
Yeah, a lot more patience. But at the same time, actually, also some better calculated aggression. Johnstar opened that round up on his roam, and that was a really successful play. And it really just came down to the fact that he got those gunfights, he got those kills, and that was really the biggest difference of their room, because actually he was pretty solo. If they've shut him down, that was it. There wasn't really a refrag ready. So Cryptic just need to be maybe a little bit more careful with their entry droning. But besides that, look, I think Cryptic's still looking pretty good. That round was definitely better though.
100%. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. 3 kills there for Johnstar. Up on towards the lobby there, finding that first opening. And I think he was the only man playing out of the basement floor. So without him there, that entire round just falls apart. They collapse in towards the garage, and you feel like it's a totally different story off the back of that one, as we do see them heading back over towards this second floor, a site that they didn't have any success on in the early stage of the half. But at least this time, no alibi. It's a totally different setup for them.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that they decided to go with this top floor, because as you said, they haven't had really any success for this. The 2 defenses they played on this were quite dominant against them. I dare say their lobby was probably a better defense. So I'm surprised they haven't gone with that, but wait and see how this pans out. Maybe they got something up their sleeve. As you said, they don't have the alibi this time. They're actually playing a pulse. So extra intel.
They got that pulse. They got that Maestro. They've got the Doc here looking for the spawn peak. Just a little tickle of damage there. Not really going to do too much there. As we do just see, again, Cryptic shaping up. It'll be their admin clearance once more. Already with great intelligence on where the current bomb site is, and clearing out these tighter angles this time around as well. So you can't really see too much cheese coming out in terms of this defensive setup for the boys on Team 53.
Yeah, I'm looking a lot more like their first setup with the way their positioning is. So Prexy playing on that mute, playing close to the soda machine around the corner. He did manage to find a kill there last time, but it was really well pinched from Cryptic, and I think we can expect that again. And look, actually, this is some good use of shooting drones and pushing back by Team 53. Prexy being droned out actually rotated away instead of being aggressive this time, and it meant that some utility has now been used by Cryptic that was really to no effect. So that's definitely something that's playing out differently, but this time management is really going to be hurting Team 53, because Cryptic still have so much time to do stuff.
A lot of time, a lot of room to move as well. They've taken key points across the map, so a lot of room for them to, make these mid-round rotations to try and put a bit more pressure on. They've got these hatch has opened up. They can drop down, move across the map, and you see Anglo here being a general nuisance here over towards the bomb site. And you can just feel the discomfort for Team 53 right now. But Johnstar, massive rotation here coming in from the lower floors. You could rotate straight up here. Maybe find something in the back and open this round right up.
Speaking of opening up, that's 2 kills for Team 53 there. And they were great kills. So the Pulse hitting a C4 offside and the Maestro hitting a nice shot with that Alder. So this is looking much better for Team 53 in the way they've played this. JCZ definitely aware somebody else flanking him, but time is now finally going in favor of the defense. It's ticked under a minute, which means Cryptic, they have to try and make a move onto site soon. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot easier for Team 53 to predict exactly what they're going to do.
You can just see here, at the very least, JCZ has a potential idea of this flank coming in from the back there. Johnstar down below. They're getting ready to push their way in towards this B site. But still, a bit more patience. 5 players holding firm on the defense, but gifted an opening there. Johnstar rotating up through Spiral. Gives one away. Hammy with the quick trade onto Anglo there as you see Sphinx blocking one down the corridor. And now a lack of time, but a refrag comes in. But the 1 versus 3 is a tall order right here. And that'll be Team 53 finding their second off a very strong defense.
That was a great defense in the end. It worked out a lot better for them. And I think Cryptic maybe got a little bit too complacent. They got admin a lot cheaper this time. And maybe they thought, yo, this is it. Like, we've got this site. Now we just have to push meaning. We're done. And yeah, the flank worked out much better. The Pulse able to hit that C4 from below, or a C4 kill came from below, thanks to the intel from the Pulse. And he was able to get extra intel, so the teammates actually on site knew exactly where that was coming from. So I think that was, yeah, much better team play from Team 53. And they're only 1 round away from leveling that up, and that would be a bit of a dub for them.
Definitely. And this is one where we sort of, we talked about it before, where we felt like this one was more Cryptics to lose, if anything, in terms of how they've played this season, and Team 53 have played this season, and what's on the line for the two sides. I almost feel like Team 53 are really starting to warm up to this one, and that could really just spell trouble for the boys on Cryptic.
Yeah, it really could. So Cryptic are going to have to just dig in and be thorough here. I think that's the most important thing, because the first round, they were very thorough and it worked out really well. The second round, look, I mean, you could say they weren't thorough because they missed on that position of Prexy in admin, but it's a pretty weird position. So I think as long as they stick thorough, they'll find these positions that are off-site for Team 53. And then I think it's just a matter of going through process for Cryptic.
Sometimes it is just process as well, just running through the motions, getting yourself in a stable set of mind, and just keeping things controlled for yourselves. This time around, looks like we're going to be seeing vertical control opted for Team 53. A lot of players spread across the map this time around, playing off site and really just trying to spin out, not allowing Cryptic too much info early on at the very least. Ooh.
Yeah, that Doc trying to play aggressive early. He gets tagged and he's going to dock himself up, but Jam just so quick and efficient here, pushing through, trying to hunt this frag down, and he's not able to secure it yet. So Team 53 wasting some time, but man, Cryptic is just going so fast on these clears.
Especially these admin ones, it's very much almost like they're just running through these motions here. They've practiced it so, frequently, it seems as a very good method in how they're doing it. And they're doing it with at least 2 players every time, setting themselves up for trades and using their utility well, as Jam is able to find the opener, playing these long hauls. But look at this, he's pushing forward, maybe looking just to try and get in around the behind them, as there's 3 players here in this upper level. Jam looking to just hold the line over towards the spiral staircase with Hotshot, just being a little bit patient here, droning out. Will find Sphinx. That does just put a little bit of a halt there on what he was looking to achieve through that one.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting little attempt there at the impact trick. It didn't come off though. So that means they've got that line of sight, and he will have to push back into the connector, which means that Cryptic can essentially start to take this meeting section. They just have to worry about these guys in connector. Is 2 there playing his position, and Team 53 have managed to stall him out a little slower, but JCZ and Jam have just pushed up so aggressively to pinch these guys in the connector. Hamio will have to just piece on out of there back to the bottom floor, and look, it's a 4 versus 2 now, and it's looking pretty good for Cryptic again.
just finally breaking that top 4 defense. And that's, you know, they were working slowly at this time. You know, once they took that fast admin, you can see that the pace changed a lot for them after getting that initial opening pick. They were really just trying to force these players out. Had to have been a bit of a read down the roam play we were seeing this time around there from this Team 53 defense. It's going to be up to Prax here down below in the main lobby there. You can see these players getting ready to push forward. That breach hole broken. A lot of room now just taken away from him, and forced to sort of try and play a cross line, but we won't really see that aggression coming in from Cryptic. They'll look to go for this plan and hold the line with a very good crossfire.
Ooh, and Hemio has got himself into the game. That's a nice peek onto Serum. So it's a 2 versus 3 and only 20 seconds to go, which does mean this plant needs to start going down, as Anglo will do just that. Briefcase on the ground, 2 seconds to go. Can't deny the plan, and it's covered beautifully from above as Cryptic close out that round. Take a 4 versus 2, 4 rounds versus 2, I should say, into the second half here, as Cryptic will go onto defense now.
And that's one that you expect them to be a lot more comfortable on as well. I mean, there's, for the most part, that round, you still have to say that was pretty dominant from Team Cryptic there. I feel like Team 53, there was a couple of glimpses where we saw like a lot of really good team play. You'd have to say really good comms and how they were rotating and playing off the back of each other. But then we just saw a little bit more of the same for Team Cryptic. Very strong, fast takes of key points on the map, and just, you know, rolling off the back of that one from there. Going to be starting us off there in the meeting room office site. This time around, you know, again, information is going to be the key for them. Lots of operators here that can get them that.
Yes, they're definitely big on the intel game here from Cryptic. They've got 3 operators that will net them some kind of intel, and the nice thing about Mozzie is he's a bit of a hybrid. He's also intel denial, so that will take intel away from these attackers. So this is a great lineup from Cryptic for this bomb site here. I think it's something that Team 53 didn't really come onto until too late, was that just additional intel with the pulse, and it did work out well for them once they did it. So a little too late for them, but Cryptic, I think they're definitely, yeah, they're looking set for this map so far.
I would love to know what the thought process was behind the alibi play. If that's something maybe they prepared for Cryptic, or just, you know, something they had in their back pocket in terms of, you know, running the strat book and trying different things out. Because it was a bit curious. It's not something you really see too often, especially on Consulate.
Yeah, I think it really tried to play a part in some kind of delay. I think their thought process was maybe, hey, if we put these prismers here, they're going to have to think about where they shoot. They're going to have to clear out ADSs for utility, and it just means that they're going to be a bit slower taking admin. But that definitely wasn't the case, because Cryptic's time management was unreal. And I think it's something that Team 53 won't be able to match. As we see here, it's already been 30 seconds. They haven't really made too much of an entry and not much of a dent in terms of like progress, engagements, that kind of thing. So definitely a big difference here between these two teams.
It's just a bit more reserved here from Team 53. They have made their way into admin. No real engagements from either side just yet. Just, you know, a bit of droning coming out. Johnson just trying to find something to start him off. This looks to be more like a split offense than what we saw from Cryptic. They were very much playing a lot of players towards this admin side of the map, whereas Team 53, they look very spread at the moment. No,
they do, and we haven't seen a whole lot of engagements, which is a bit surprising. I think it really shows Cryptic are playing very patient at the moment.
It's for Jam, not wanting to face anything there. It's just really Anglo taking contact in behind that shield. That will be taken out of the contest, so forced just out of the fights for a little bit longer, but he's got this great line all the way through the B-bomb site. He'll be able to just keep the pressure on and support Jam here, the lone defender in the A site. So those drones do come in, information there given to Team 53. And they are getting ready to shape themselves up for this offense, but was that just a flank we were seeing from JCZ? And yes, Jam also beginning to rotate here. So these roamers could come into the late round and really disrupt what Team 53 have set themselves up for.
And Johnster is the one to hunt them down here. He's trying to push around this statue. He's going up the spiral stairs, though, and He's going to get spotted out by JCZ and now shut down. So that's not going to work out. And this is a dangerous position for sure for Team 53, because even if they do manage to get into the meeting to try the plant, there's denial below. Serum is down there with the C4 as the Valkyrie. Jam takes out Prexy, so it's falling apart here in this attack. But Getovets is going to go deep. He finds one. He isn't able to find another. It's a 4 versus 2 here. All up to Sphinx and Hamyo. But Sphinx is shut down. Hamyo shut down. That is the round. Cryptic looking very good so far.
What absolutely phenomenal timing there on that rotation coming in from Jam and JCZ. It just really stunted everything there. That was a really nice split they were shaping up for, using a couple of players from the lower regions of the map to make their way up through Spiral and just try and collapse in through that main hallway. But that rotation perfectly timed and just turned the whole round around.
Absolutely. And I think it also highlighted that potentially Team 53 just lacked a bit of intel on that first floor. So once those operators did rotate down from the defense, they had to kind of face check or manually hunt them. It looked like Johnston on that Zofia, as he went up the statue stairs, really wasn't sure of who was down there and where they were. So again, just a little bit, maybe a lack of thoroughness from Team 53. And look, they're facing a big deficit here. It's 3 rounds now. It's 5 versus 2. And Cryptic could just starting to run away with this, I'd say.
So now, having to try and make their way in through the garage this time around. Very similar setup once more for Cryptic as well. Still playing off the back of that intel, and I think we can see that their Anglo is positioning towards that main hallway as they made their way out of admin to try and take that bomb site in the last round. Got a lot of information, allowed Jam to come back into the round up through Spiral. So if we see more play like that with these intelligence-based operators, I think it's going to be a very long, drawn-out round here for Team 53.
And we just saw a drone get stolen by JCZ, so that's some intel again that Team 53 will be missing. Potentially an issue that caused them to have some difficulties in that first attack round. Cryptic setting up still as the round has started here. Looks like there is no wall denial at this stage that will be utilized at all for Cryptic. They're actually just going to be giving this wall straight to Team 53.
That is an interesting choice we've seen there, but this time around, look at this. An admin take coming in, looking to just take these upper extremities, take away that roam potential for Cryptic, as we saw how dangerous that was after that last round, where they were able to just really punish the pace that Team 53 were going at. Not to say that slower pace was a bad thing, but just that it was very easily capitalized on by the defenses. Jam in the lower sights, getting droned out. Just a little bit worried for his positioning. Will be forced to rotate out, as this is, controlled stuff here from Team 53. Getting a lot of information and just slowly droning out these roamers.
And it has worked out for them, as Prexy does surprise Jam on that one. So Jam off the board is a big fragger for his team, as Serum actually does trade back with a big C4 there onto the Buck. So it's not a lot of holes that have been opened. That will make it a little more comfortable for the defense to play on site. So, good trade there, but hot shot hits a great shot through the beams on the Johnstar. And look, Cryptic in a good position here. I think taking off that Buck was a big hit.
That was massive. It just really takes away a lot of options for Team 53, as we do see that breach coming in through the main garage door. Still trying to just use a bit of these vertical angles that they do have to play with, but this stage in the round, you can see the defense, they've fallen right off. They're ready to play retake almost, it looks like. But they'll still be able to, at least challenge this hit, as we do see there's still a couple of smoke bays up here for Hot Shot.
Yeah, the defense have a lot of opportunity to deny here, and it looks like Team 53 are about to go for it, but they're not aware that Serum has pushed up. He does find one, isn't able to get the other one, but Anglo will chip in as well, leaving it all up to Sphinx for Team 53. It's not looking too good for him here, as he's going to have to find 3 people, but he's not going to find one, as the Maestro will take him out, and that puts Team Cryptic onto match point for this map.
There was a couple of things I really liked there from Team 53 and how they were using their drones earlier. They took a lot of map control away from Cryptic, but they just looked so comfortable in the bomb site itself that there wasn't really too much pressure on them in the late stage of the round.
Yeah, that's right. The early round was not too bad from Team 53. They did find that entry, taking out Jam nice and early. but it did kind of fall apart. Once they lost that buck, they weren't able to get those vertical holes to flush out the defenders. The strong anchor operators, such as Smoke and Maestro, were able to play very comfortably deep in sight. And it just kind of ran away from them at that stage. But yeah, some glimmers of hope there on Team 53, that's for sure.
I think you can say the same at the first round of the half at the same time. I think their pacing was good. Their intent was in the right place in terms of how they were moving across the map and taking control. It's just the finer things in the late round that are just not really falling into place for them. You know, first round, you know, not cancelling out that roam play and those fast rotations. And I mean, they're just cutting my point short. They just want to look at JCZ right now, 12-3. What an absolute monster!
Yeah, he's going off for his team. He's going big, that's for sure. 12-3. And look, there's only one round to go here. And seeing something interesting on the side of Team 53, decided to bring in the Nook. So looking to bypass some of those cams. The intel heavy game that Cryptic have been playing could maybe expose an Achilles heel of Team Cryptic here.
It would be interesting to see that one play out in that way at the same time as well. That would be a huge hole because it feels like that's how Cryptic have gotten away with a few of these rounds at the same time. Is the intel that they are gathering for themselves, you know, with the Maestro, the Mozzie, the Valkyrie. A lot of pieces on the board to just give them, you know, more eyes in the field. I just want to see the Nook just do something.
Yeah, that's right. It's exciting when you see a Nook pull off like a really sick play or something. So hopefully that works out to some effect here. But Critic, looks like they're going to be doing quite a heavy hold upstairs, which is definitely important for defending this bomb site here. And Team 53, again, just taking it easy on their entry. Nothing too fast here. Don't want to rush to their death.
There's some around as well. We actually see the Jackal being picked up for Team 53. So maybe looking to try and stop a little bit of this roam play that we're seeing come out from Cryptic. But in saying that, JCZ continues his roam of terror. Hamyo able to get the trade, and he's actually gone right into the bomb site. So as we were just saying before, it would be nice to see the Nook pull off something pretty sick, and suddenly he's just in the middle of the bomb site.
Yeah, he must have really pulled off some frightening stuff because JCZ has said heart attack in chat. So really living up to the name there. And look, Hamio's got himself a great position here on site. He can just chill out, watch when he rotates, and he's shot the cam on site. So potentially Cryptic won't have any idea that this is where he's pushed into.
So no one really rotating back across here for Cryptic as well. I think that's Angela we see there, I think, on the cams in the bathroom. Spots the player up above there. Fantastic work from Hamyo. He's certainly doing his job perfectly. 2 quick kills for him are in the round. A minute to go. Diffuser will be going down, but a disadvantage. Anglo not going to be able to deny that. I was like, what's going on there?
Yeah, that was a bit weird. I'm not really sure what happened there. I think it was a spectator bug, but look, it's a 2 versus 2 here, and this is a great retake from Cryptic, all up to Hamyo. He's done so well for his team so far. Maestro Cam will spot him out, not having his ability activated. Maybe a bit of a oversight there. The Maestro take it down by the track stingers, so now it's a 1 versus 1. All up to Serum. He doesn't have much time, so he's just going to go for this defuse. And actually, Hamyo is really far away from this, so Serum sticks this. He can get this counter defuse. This is for the map, and he does stick it. Oh, Hamyo. A fantastic early play, but then an absolute misplay at the end.
Oh, that just all fell apart off the back of that Maestro came from Anglo, which we saw its fantastic positioning off the back of what is, I'm assuming, is of course that spectator bug you mentioned before. But dear oh dear, that's not the way you want to lose that one when you were looking competitive in a couple of those rounds, and then it just falls away like that.
For sure. And that last attack actually looked really great. The early entry with the Nook was awesome, and the positioning once they got into lobby was fantastic. So it really shaped up beautifully. Execute was good. It just fell apart on the retake. So a bit unfortunate for Team 53 there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a couple of rounds where you really felt like that they were in the contest at the same time, but a bit of class from Cryptic, able to tidy that one up pretty quickly. A 7-2 scoreline as We look towards our next map, but before that, we will be heading to just a short break, but we'll be back with more action this evening. Don't you go anywhere.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. With crimson secrets and forbidden bliss, can't stay still, don't stop that thrill. My bones crave your skin, temptation within, mistakes ignite the silence. Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Connect the dots straight to the start of intoxicating want. Lingering touch, these soft words whispered in the dark. Set my
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have more ANZ Challenger League action for you to come tonight. We just saw our first map of the evening, Cryptic taking a resounding victory, 7-2 over Team 53 on Consulate. I'm, of course, Matty B. I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Raven. How are we going after that first matchup this evening?
Going good, man. Look, Cryptic just looks so good on that first map. 7-2, I think, really does do justice to how that map played out. It was all them. There were so many dominant rounds. I think really on the back of some really clean attacks from them. They had such good entries and great time management. So it's definitely going to be rough for Team 53 moving forward.
There were a couple of glimpses, though, we did see from Team 53. They didn't look horrible in stages. It was just a lot of mismanaged moments for them. It started to fall apart as we look towards our next map. If you want to walk me through that one.
Yeah, so the next map is actually going to be a notorious aggressive map. It is going to be Border, which, look, that really could come back and favor Team 53 because, as we were saying in the pre-show, their key could just be playing this looser, harder to predict kind of play style. But I think Cryptic really kind of outmatched them on that. Cryptic were actually the ones playing relatively loose, but like aggressive and clean at the same time. So I don't know. It makes border a little harder to predict for me.
It's gonna be one of those ones where it could really go either way. If we see those really solid rounds from Team 53, like we did see over on Consulate, where there were a couple of rounds where you could just like everything looked like it was working for them. It was like good communication, great rotations, things fell into place. They won their fights versus Cryptic. They looked dangerous on the 2 rounds they won. Outside of that, puppy dogs. If we can see danger, then I'm excited for what we see heading into border.
Absolutely. And you did say it. Look, they did have some glimpses of great play in Consulate, so hopefully they can pull that out on border.
Yes, cutting straight into the action. Map 2, of course, another vital map for Cryptic if they want to make this run towards Pro League for Season 11. And dangerous stuff. If we're coming up against a Team 53 that could potentially do a bit of damage with the glimpses they've shown. Walk me through the bans here, Raven. What are you expecting, mate?
I'm thinking we might see that Thatcher ban again. You know, I think that is a bit of a read from one of these teams into countering the other team's ability to attack. I believe it was Team 53 that banned out the Thatcher last time, so maybe we will see that. But the Thermite ban, also great. It definitely is going to make attacking that top floor for sure much trickier. Habana being probably the primary hard breacher that will be used now, a bit easier to counter.
Yeah, getting Thermite off the board does make that even better. And look at that, the Maverick ban. So none of that. None of that.
Yeah, look, that's actually really interesting because it just leaves Habana to open hard walls and can be relatively easily countered. You could say there's a lot of wall denial that you could use against that, as well as easy enough to impact tricks so that they can't use it for rotates. They can only use it for line of sight. So it's definitely going to change the way that attacks play out.
Do you think that second ban, the Maverick ban for Team 53, plays off the fact that they are starting on defense as well?
I think that's definitely the case. If they can make it very uncomfortable for Cryptic, then it gives them a better chance. But look, I don't know. I think either way, it's going to be pretty rough for them.
Come on, mate. Give him hope. Give him a little bit of hope. You ever seen the Mighty Ducks? Come on.
Yeah, okay. Mighty 53s?
The Mighty 53. The Mighty 53.
They're gonna go the Ying. Okay, this is interesting. I hope they stick the Ying.
So do I. I hope that Ying stays in. We see the Kai switch there. The Kaid, sorry. Off the dock, and it's going to be the Capitao. So falling back into that stock standard. No, the Thatcher, in fact.
Yeah.
But that's all right. It's not too bad.
Yeah, look, it's definitely going to be helpful for their attack, and it's probably good that they did it. I'm just a bit sad, you know. I love Ying, and she doesn't get much play anymore, so I was excited not to be.
I was
it definitely works out.
Straight troll off that Ying. Like, let's just run at them.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been awesome, but oh well. They've gone for some strategy here, which is probably good. And Cryptic, on the other hand, going with this Kaid means that they're going to have to be very thorough with those EMPs because that wall denial could make or break their attack.
Yes, that wall denial, that pesky main wall there in the armory. Such a hard position to take if you come ill-equipped, and off those bans, just the sole Habana to have to take it, it does make it quite difficult.
It does. And something that's actually a bit different with this Cryptic lineup compared to what we saw on Consulate is it actually lacks a bit of intel. They do have the intel with the Maestro, but that's pretty much it. They actually were relying on a lot of intel on Consulate. They'll bring the Valkyrie, the Mozzie, the Maestro at the same time. So it's not the case this time. I think maybe it could be a sign that they might be just doing some more turtle defenses.
It's definitely like a much more site-based sort of defense set up from them with that smoke and the Maestro, and even the Kaidi can be very hard to clear out of some of these angles. Still though, we do see Prax at least getting a bit of information clearing out CCTV. Just making sure there's a bit of a safe position to just start to make their way towards the site, as we do see Mr. Jam, the lone roamer down below.
Definitely a dangerous room at that, because he was also a strong performer for his team on that first map on Consulate. They will have to be careful and drone that out. Try and hunt him down. We do see Hamio actually down on that first floor. So maybe he's tasked with it. But Hotshot, as he tries to flank up the hallway, is actually taken down. Not sure whether Prexy realizes that he's down to that player. He might actually be able to crawl to safety into the office here. So a bit of a misplay here. Cryptic able to secure this revive.
That had to have come from a pre-fire. I don't think he actually saw him, if that's the case. And that could just change the entire round off the back of that. That smoke staying alive. I think he still has his C4. And that could just be another piece of the puzzle here for this Cryptic defense. As Sync's trying to clear out some of these lower floorboards. And Prax just creating a bit of space there as they look to breach their way in. But, oh, a massive gunfight lost down below. Sync's falling to jam. And now it's just starting to slowly fall apart. A very slow offense for Team 53, and they're now forced to just try and clear out Jam, but it's just not working out for them.
Yeah, and that oversight's big there. They left that default up as they went to engage with Jam, and he had a teammate on it feeding him intel, so not too great there from Team 53. Cryptic able to really capitalize here, but 53 are moving forward. They've taken the office now. Relatively quick succession here, but it's only 30 seconds to go. Not a whole lot of time to get stuff done, and they are at a man disadvantage. So this is going to be a very messy final 20 seconds.
Looks like a lot of this counter util's been deployed already, though, from this Cryptic defense. They don't want to allow themselves to just be collapsed on too quickly, but it's going to be the harder hit coming in towards the B site. Just coming in from the back there. Anglo still holding the line in the back of the archives. That smoke babe deployed. That's going to just hamper that chance to get the diffuser down. One will be found. Hamio looks to just go hard. Finds himself a double. But the time's run out. Just as they almost pull that one right back from the brink. A huge contest in the bomb site, but the time was not on their side. You said it just before. 30 seconds, not long.
Yeah, and look, it was very messy, and they were so close. As you said, they really did bring that back from the brink. They ended up at a 2v1 in that final second. But Hotshot wasn't able, I think it was Hotshot with the kit, wasn't able to actually push through and get it down. Sorry, Ghetto Vet, I don't know what I'm saying. But they didn't get plant down, and it was unfortunate because it was a great little spring onto site. So looking all right from T53, but a bit sloppy. Again, I think they really lacked some thoroughness downstairs on that room clear.
Yeah, well, the fact that Jam, I think you got a double in that round, wasn't it? You know, the fact that he got that first, and there was no, you know, peace of mind to get rid of him. There was no trade instantly. The positioning was off. It was a little bit of individualism in the lower floors. It was exactly as you said. It was just a bit sloppy there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they can't afford that, because we saw it actually at the end there. They really kind of ran over the top of Cryptic in that final moment of the round. So if they just were a bit more careful in that early stage, it could have definitely turned out different for them. This allows Cryptic to rotate onto a different bomb site, though. So they are taking the Events Workshop bomb site. And JCZ on a Kvera here. So speaking of thoroughness, this is definitely going to have to promote some really thorough droning from Team 53.
This makes me nervous. This makes me very nervous for Team 53, and the positioning right here for JCZ. Surely this is droned. There's no way he gets away with this one.
Feeling like a bit of a Prexy and admin moment from Consulate. Could be
no.
absolutely devastating in either direction.
We don't talk
Wait
about
and see
it.
how. It's the Voldemort of this series here. Have to see whether Team 53 do manage to find JCZ, or whether he does manage to flank them, because there are 4 players that he could run up these stairs to get here.
Oh dear. There's been no clearance down below. They've made their way upstairs. A lot of sound being made. At this point, you'd think they've been heard out, as they do just try and drone out the armory here. There is a player stuck in this back corner now, and Prax does have him pinned, and it doesn't give me a lot of confidence, unfortunately, after what we saw in the round that must not be mentioned.
Yeah, look, this is delaying a lot of time. This is almost half the round now, and they are still trying to deal with this position. Serum does find one off-site though, so this is not looking too good for Team 53 here. And to their knowledge, they probably are still completely unaware of JCZ as the Kavira that could really open this round up completely. But Jam, bit of a misplay, pushing too aggressive. He's taken out by Prexy. It's all up to Hotshot on this Armory side now as he's getting pinched very heavily here, and they will shut him down. So Team 53 taking man advantage.
Great team clearance there, playing together, set up perfectly for the trade there. It was definitely one of those, 1-2 swing moments for them. It does the job as still. JCZ is still in the round, and that is just something that is just making me extremely nervous at the moment. He has a very good possibility of rotating back into this site. There's a lot of vertical control taken at the moment for Team 53, but they haven't really found themselves an entry point into the bomb site just yet. And with 40 seconds left, it's getting right down to the wire for them.
We just saw, thanks to the observer there, Sky JCZ was actually droned out by the Buck, so he will have to reposition. The Buck does find a frag onto Anglo now, so it's looking good here for Team 53. 4 versus 2, but only 20 seconds. Again, this time has really come against them here, and they've not got a lot of time to get this kit down. Plant has started, but the retake will have to come through as JCZ is using his ability to push through the workshop. So many angles held into this position. It's going to be a very difficult retake, but Serum starts it off with a kill.
He spotted out though, and very quickly get over it. The man to lock it all down at the death. And Team 53, good round to find for themselves, and off the back of, fighting JCZ and keeping him out of action for a very long time. Good drone play, and just an overall very controlled round for them.
It was actually, and I think JCZ really missed his window of opportunity with that flank. I think while they were really busy clearing out that armory section, I think that was the time, because they looked very focused on that. There was at least 3 of them pushing through archives to that armory to clear it out, and I think their flank was open from what I could tell from the observer cam. So that was his window, and he did miss it. So potentially cost his team the round here as it's 1-1. Actually looking a bit better for Team 53. This is their attack phase, and so far it's not too shabby. It's a little bit slow, maybe.
Mighty Ducks.
That's it, man. That's it. They came straight through with that flying V formation, took armor.
All you hear as they come through armory is just quack, 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 quack.
I hope that's what their team comms were. I really do.
Oh god. I don't know, that makes me a little bit upset. We'll never know the answer. All right, back into the game in front of us. The serious moment that we are here for.
5 seconds left.
This time around, a bit more information going in for the Valkyrie, the Mozzie, just trying to prevent the drone play that we did see coming out for Team 53. It was, pretty much on point for them in that previous round. A lot of great clearances done. Got a lot of good information, especially that one on Hotshot up in towards the armory. The fact that JCZ couldn't get back into that fight in a timely manner really did mean that they were able to really collapse on him and take him out of the round, and he could have been dangerous at that stage.
Yeah, he really could have. So that was definitely a missed opportunity. And Team 53 here being very thorough with their drones, and I like to see 2 drones droning out that security section, because it means it's cleared very efficiently, but they haven't taken it yet, which is a bit interesting. Might want to take that before it gets retaken by the defense. Most of the defenders here are playing over in the armory section again, so they will have to clear that out just like last time. JCZ is probably not going to be playing as passive as he did last round, so they will have to contend with him.
He's on that Mozzie, which you tend to see a lot of players be quite aggressive with in the early stage of the round at the same time. The Commander are fantastic. Submachine gun, able to take a lot of early fights, do a lot of damages. Hamid does actually get a big piece of information. They're spotting another player out, just trying to make his way in towards the main lobby there. It still looks like the brakes have now been hit for Team 53s. They do just hit into their drone play.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unsuccessful entry this time, but Prexy does find hot shots, so he has evened it up. But I think, again, I can just feel it this time is going to start to play against them, because they're getting closer to this minute mark, which doesn't give them a whole lot of time to actually be able to deal with the execute. Their clear was good last time, but that's what the issue was, is that lack of time. And look, JCZ has found one now, so the man advantage has swung back in favor of Cryptic into this final minute.
Yeah, with Jam also on this roam. See Anglo? He's got that sound cue there. Knows exactly where these players are coming from. And this having this Legion, defending the bomb site this late in the round with the potential to use the Goose. At the very least, though, Sphinx on the buck will use that to just try and clear him out. Force him away from these early fights. And Jam, so patient here. He could just turn the round on its head there. Gets the down. I'm not sure if he's aware of that one just yet. Does eventually tidy that one up. And it's Prax to 4. So Sphinx looking to try and just clean this one up from above as Getovet drops his way in towards the lower site. But that just leaves his teammate, the last man alive, Sphinx, in a 1v3. And he won't be long for this world as Cryptic find their second. A much better round for them on the defense.
Yeah, I think it really showed that they just missed that extra player on the roam in that first round when they were so focused with JCZ playing in the Cav. This time with him much more involved, it was so much more difficult for Team 53 to successfully clear. And the time really started to tick away. They got a bit desperate. They lost some frags and all of a sudden the round was over. So much better from Cryptic there. And they will be able to rotate back to the Armory Archives bomb site, which they did successfully hold last time.
And you can see the change up at the very least in their initial picks. And it's looking like those intelligence-based operators, there we go, the Maestro coming in. But intelligence is really what's been the strong point for Cryptic so far in terms of how they play their defense. And you see more of that still.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
It's just how Team 53 are playing off the back of it. They've really slowed down and winding down that clock. It's not doing them any favors. They're hitting these bomb sites with about 30 seconds left. And that's really not the amount of time you want when you have 4 players alive on the defense side.
That's exactly right. And I think they are losing the intel game, that's for sure, to Cryptic here. And Cryptic taking extra intel on last time they played this site. They did not bring the Valkyrie the first time they defended this. And that was a successful... my gosh, what am I saying here? That was a successful defense in itself. So the fact that they've got the Valkyrie here, I think only plays towards their strength. Makes me a little bit worried about Team 53 here. They're going to have to be super thorough on the roam clear again. And they just need to give themselves more time for that execute.
It's just a little bit more gas on the accelerator. It's really all we're asking for, boys. This Jam, cheeky angle up above here in the server room. Never mind.
Yeah, it was anticlimactic. I wish
Yes.
he held that a bit longer, but oh well.
We could have had a moment there. That's
Would have
alright.
definitely.
Initial droning coming out at the very least, but oh my lord.
Boom.
What a C4 that was.
That was basically like Prexy just stepped on a landmine.
Oh, that is just filthy.
I think again, that just came back to that intel game. They're just too good at his Cryptic, but oh, that's maybe a very ill-advised peek from the smoke there. He is now out of play very early in the round. He's a very strong operator for defending Armory, so maybe a little too confident. Let's open the door a bit more for Team 53 now, but again, this time is definitely not working out for them because they've still got to get this wall open, and they could have some difficulties here because there is a Kaid here ready to trick it.
Yes, they do have an idea of where he is there. So this Thatcher, big job to do now off the back of this one is that ZMPs do come out. They're just trying to time them well just to try and ensure that they can make this breach in. There's Xkyrus.
Oh,
I think the
he's got
timings,
these.
I think it's... Oh,
Yeah.
that's so clutch.
That's very well played from Serum. He wasted the 3 EMPs of the attackers to try to get that wall open, and they did not get it open in the end. So that is big, but oh, he tries to peek out and loses his face to Sphinx's gun. It's a great shot from Sphinx now, and that means that they could potentially just go for this aggressive push through, but Hotshot's there to receive it, get Ovette taken out now, and look, it's a trade back and forth here, but time ticking down.
Look at this angle from JCZ as well. Coming from the back, he's going to hear this rotation in. Johnster falls, and it's up to Hamya now in a 1v2. Has a rough idea of where Hotshot is. JCZ rotating back in and just cuts him out of this choke point. With 30 seconds left, he has to just try and isolate this one with a long flank for himself.
JCZ can just sit on these evil eyes as well for this intel. So again, the intel game is going to be too good for Cryptic. It's going to be very difficult for Hamio to get this pick here. They're very much aware of his position. There's some pings coming out, and he's going to have to just push through this fountain commit. He hits a nice shot on the JCZ, but oh, almost. Hamio with such good attempt of a clutch. Like, he actually flicked to this Valkyrie, but just didn't pull the trigger. Cryptic getting another round there, and look, T53, that was not too bad.
Claymore almost could have ran the round up at the same time as well. Not quite. If it was just a bit closer, maybe a totally different story, but good rotation there from Hotshot, just a bit of peace of mind. And he was just the pivotal point in that round as well. He got the ball started there. Fantastic use of his Nitro Cell. That C4 charge, it was like being back in NAM almost, and landmines going off. But a 3-1 lead at the moment. Cryptic in the box seat.
Big shout out to Serum's Kaid play as well on that round. Was absolutely massive to hold that armory wall. Wasting all 3 EMPs and still tricking off the Hibana charges. Definitely gave Team 53 the hardest chance possible at actually taking armory. In the end, it's not really where they decided to go. It got very split after that, but that was a big play from him. And this is definitely looking good for Cryptic again. They're able to weather a bit more of what Team 53 is throwing at them, and they're still coming out on top, so it's looking pretty good.
And that's also twice now in the Armory bomb site that we've seen it get right down to a 1vx for Cryptic to try and win the round. At that first round that went right down to the end of the time of the 2v1 that they won off of time, and that one just there with Hotshot, you know, winning that gunfight at the death. So a couple of really tight ones when we hit that site. This time around though, we'll see something a little bit different. Making their way back downstairs in towards customs.
Yeah, so they're going to their 3rd bomb site now as they've won 2 in a row, which is Vents and Armory. We haven't seen this played from them yet, so not too sure exactly what they plan to do. It looks like they are going to play it quite vertically though. They've got a pretty spread out roam, playing the Armory security kind of roam, which makes it even harder for Team 53 to take here. This mute being a bit of a pain for them, not able to drone out security very quickly, and this could be great. If they just time delay, I think this is definitely going to go in favor of Team Cryptic yet again.
Well, that's what they've done so well so far across the map as well, is the fact that they have done such a fantastic job of ensuring that there is no time left for Team 53. They have to be very careful with how they're droning these positions out and, you know, finding these openings there. Nice little cook there, but the ADS saving the day at the death. As Getevet does look to just try and isolate one of these roamers, but it's going to be Jam, a great headshot while darting across there. Takes down his opposite, and that's advantage early for Cryptic.
It's a fantastic shot from Jam. And this is a great roam so far from Cryptic. They have managed to delay some time. Anglo finds another. That's onto Sphinx. It's the Thatcher off the board. And it's just some details here, T53. Just a little lackluster on droning. They wasted a frag grenade to an ADS, for example. That's something you can't do, especially early. They should have drones. They should be able to figure that kind of stuff out and be using their EMPs to clear that utility. So not looking too great here as we've gone into the second half of this round. They are at a man disadvantage, 5 versus 3. Cryptic really in the driver's seat.
I guess you can sort of really see now the difference being with a team that's still with a chance of making that Pro League spot and a team that hasn't quite hit that height just yet. It's a little bit of a class disparity at the moment as it's up to Praxton at 1v5, and this is a very tough ask for him with a minute to go at the very least. He has a little bit of time to play with, but nothing to come of it. As JCZ cleans that one up, and it's painting a very dire picture right now for Team 53.
Yeah, it's feeling very much like Consulate at the end of the day here. Team Cryptic are up 4-1 now with 1 round to go for this first half. And yeah, just some mistakes being made from Team 53. Some mistakes of a young team, perhaps, playing into the strengths of, could say, a veteran team. They've played through a season of Pro League, and they're all players that have been around for quite a while. Jam, in particular, is a player that's been around for a very long time, playing very high level for a while. So, experience versus new here. And Hamio is going to go for this Nook play, which we saw actually work out to some success on Consulate.
It's always that last-ditch effort for him as well. You know, just whipping it out in the last round of the half again. And this is something I'm actually a little bit terrified of, because how he found himself in that lobby bomb site on Consulate, I have no idea. So, if he just Houdini's his way into the middle of the action once more, we saw how he was able to tear that round apart. It was only one off the back of a fantastic clutch from Cryptic. He could, you know, be another piece here that turns it back in favor of Team 53.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm actually kind of surprised that maybe it took them this long to pull out the Nook again, because Cryptic do lean on Intel, and they seem to have figured that out on Consulate, and that's how the Nook worked so well last time. I think it's definitely something that would have been worth the risk to try earlier on. But see how right or wrong I am, because if it doesn't work out this round, maybe it was justified.
Fair enough there. Look at that from Serum. Bit of early information for him as he spots those little footsies running past the drain holes. As he's got a little lurk out here, just by customs. As Hamio, he's found himself relatively deep in the map early on, but there's not a lot of room for him to get through silently.
Attackers have located a bomb.
No, but he's trying to find that gap, that's for sure. I think he's trying to snake his way into bathroom to check if it's clear, as well as maybe get into workshop. Yeah, it's definitely what he's doing here. And look, he's able to get in and take out these cams, which means that they are going to lack a bit of intel. And this could really make or break the round. That pre-fire will give him away, though. And his team, they're going to have to be making some progress now, because it's a minute ticked away.
And look at this again. Serum is moving off the back of that one, just clearing out the backside of customs over towards that bathroom hallway. He knows that he's boogied out of there. So another piece, just, you know, a bit of map control taken back there for Cryptic, as Jam just gets absolutely destroyed there. Fantastic nade from Get Over. Clears him out perfectly and gets an advantage for Team 53, which they haven't really had. And they're going to double up off the back of that one, a 5-on-3 with a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, Has getting a little too aggressive there was hot shot, but that nade taking out Jam was fantastic. Serum did just see the head of somebody in security, but doesn't pull the trigger. Sphinx finds another one off site as that's traded back, so now it's a 4 versus 2, but 53 looking pretty good on this attack. Serum is going to retreat now, as it is up to him and JCZ. They've got a lot of time to burn as well, but oh, what a mistake from Getovet, pushing through the main door, not really realizing that somebody was holding his angle. But made it a bit closer now, but still going to be difficult for Cryptic.
Yeah, and Serum just looking to rotate across there, but gets caught in the crossfire between Prax there. I believe it was John Star, so it's JCZ. He's been the man of the hour so often this evening for Cryptic. Such a heavy hitter for his side, but now the long rotation to come in as they begin to pincer their way in towards the back of this bomb site. He'll spot out them both, but won't be able to connect. So 2 rounds on the board at the very least for Team 53 in the first half.
Now that attack was probably their best attack yet, to be honest. It was a really good shutdown of that roam. Potentially, I mean, not too much that Hotshot could have done. He was very much pinched in that back lockers area of Armory. So he had to try and peek out and make something happen. But it meant that Cryptic were down 2 men relatively early. So it was definitely a tall ask, but they're taking 4-2 advantage out of that half. They will be going to attack now.
Yes, and this I feel like this is actually going to be quite a tough offensive side for Cryptic, just based off those early bans, the lack of the hard breaches, you know, the forcing of this utility. They're going to have to really expel. The bandit trick will be coming in towards Armory. So this could be a very long, drawn-out process for Cryptic to just try and get into the bomb site.
Look, Armory Archives is the staple of Border, so we're not seeing anything too different here from Team 53. And their lineup looking pretty good. They're using the Bandit for the wall denial, which is going to be very important. We saw Team Cryptic opt to use the Kaid, whereas Team 53 are going to go for the Bandit. And based on the attacking bans, being the Thermite and the Maverick, it's kind of the linchpin of a lot of these defenses.
I'd be curious to see how this defense will encompass those bans at the same time as well, with that having a bandit trick over there towards Armory. We see well prepared for it already. At the very least, Cryptic, you know, they've got themselves the Thatcher there, the IQ, just to spot him out, you know, see if that trick's going to be coming in. It's just going to be about map control in the early stage at the moment, especially for Team 53 here. They need to make sure that they don't really gift anything too early and give Cryptic room to move as they set themselves up for this first site hit.
Seeing Prexy on this Mozzie playing a very deep, aggressive position. It's going to be risk reward, but speaking of, Johnster has been taken out very early. That's the Legion too, so not many of those Goon Mines would have gone down. That's a bit of an L. Cryptic are going to do what looks like a bit of an east push here. Take this office side. That's where we see the Thatcher and the Zofia at the moment, and this is where Prexy's positioning could have been lethal, but he's moved away from that window and it's been droned out anyway, so nothing was really going to come avail of that.
Jim does find his way in towards the security room. At the very least, early piece of map control taken there. They'll look to just clear out a bit more information. And they're going to prevent those rotations coming in as well through the outside connector between Armory and the security room. So it looks like there might be an internal split coming in here. Coming in the back way, hitting that B site might just be the preference here for Cryptic as they take a decent chunk of map control, and JCC's actually found himself in towards B.
Yeah, he's managed to get all the way on the side without them really realizing it all. Sphinx did find Hotshot though, but his plant could go down as Jamp finds another one. It's a 4 versus 2. It's looking all very much Cryptic on this round. The fact that they were able to get onto site without Team 53 knowing, it's not a good position for Team 53 to have to retake from, as Anglo is going to go and try and get this plant down. It is all up to Hemio.
It was almost like there was a nook in the field. I didn't even see JCZ just suddenly find himself in that B site. As they've seen these players set themselves up all around the hallways, taking a bit of control. You could see Serum making his way outside, ready to split in through the window, and just suddenly, oh, there he is, in the middle of the bomb site.
Yep. It's definitely a big oversight from Team 53 there. Potentially they need to be bringing more intel. That's what we might see here with this Valkyrie, but I think also a big part of that is they lost their Legion super early. If they had more Goon Lines around, then JCZ wouldn't have been able to just snake his way in. So risk reward of your Legion so early, not really a great choice.
Yes. Does make it a lot harder when you don't have that sort of mid-round denial. And I mean, they're still using a similar setup this time around, so they do have that option at the very least. It's just if they can really capitalize on it at the very least. But that was really well done from Cryptic. I felt like they were really patient. They saw exactly the type of setup they were going for in towards the Armory, so they decided to take a lot more widespread map control, and then, you know, finding their way in towards that B site late in the round.
Yeah, and a good display of confidence in multiple areas there, down to their droning and the way they took map control of what was clear very quickly, and maybe just sheer confidence of JCZ to say, okay, I'm just going to push around the site, guys. And he just took it. So, yeah, really well played from them. And they're only 2 rounds away from securing this map and from keeping themselves in the Pro League run. So it's definitely a big thing for them.
Yes. For those that, you know, aren't aware, it's very much a must-win game for Cryptic if they want to stay in the hunt. They need to win all their maps, and I think they need a result to go their way as well to just guarantee themselves a spot. And that's not going to do them any good if Hamu can keep finding openings in rounds. It's going to be traded straight back there. Serum does catch out the man who opened the round up. As we do see, again, just a bit of progressive map control being taken across the board for Cryptic.
Some early engagements there. And, I mean, losing the Zofia is probably not great, but they'll be alright here as they're making some good progress. With only a minute counted down as well. There is a player downstairs on the roam though, so if that's not caught off, that could be devastating flank coming through the east there. It is Johnstar in the lobby. might even wait down there for a C4. I'll have to wait and see what he decides to do, but Cryptic will have to be careful.
So that's a massive pickup at the same time. Serum does drop. There is at least the trade, and that's the roam dropped there. Johnstar falling there. JCZ, and a massive damage there. I'm not even sure if they know they got the down there. On to Prax, and now Sphinx just praying they get away with this one. Looking to take that fight at the very least, just to try and deter this offensive hit coming in. But they're going to try and hit this B site very quickly. They're stuck in a corner.
Oh,
absolutely pinned down. And this one might be hard, but lining up the first one. JCZ's the man to fall, but quickly to fall away out of the angle. As Anglo's locked that one down. And it's now a 2 versus 1. Get over it, having to make the long trek around the map to just try and deny this one with a minute to go.
yeah, and this potentially doesn't look spotted. None of them are really rotating to his position. Doesn't look like it's been called out on, but yeah, flick comes his way as Anglo closes the round out for Cryptic, putting them to match point. They are up 6-2 now. It's looking very much potentially the same scoreline as we saw on Consulate.
And it has looked a bit more of the same. I feel like this one has been a tighter contest overall in terms of how the rounds have played out. But you can just see that the touch of experience in class that Cryptic have in their lineup, and it's really progressively just starting to shine as the matches go on over Team 53. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been great either.
Yeah, it's like you said before. It's just you're seeing two different classes basically. There's definitely teams at two different levels here, and Cryptic basically running away with it again. It was close early, but not being held onto by Team 53. And look, they decided to rotate off that bomb site now. They're actually going to play Vents, which I think is a good decision. Change it up. But they're bringing in Alibi again, which was an interesting pick on Consulate that I didn't see work out for them.
It looks like it might be a similar type setup as well as they make their way, down into the security room. This could be, well, not right, server room. Sorry, my words are wrong. But this could be interesting there. So it looks like it's going to be the stack over towards the B site there with the prisoners. On the other side, though, there's a lot of roam potentially. At the very least, Johnstar taken out of that previous round, but he's been so dangerous on the Mozzie so far this evening that you just can't rule him out of pulling something off and keeping Team 53 in this half at the very least.
Yeah, he had a very notable play on Consulate where he got three very big kills for his team. And really brought them back in on the defense, so really don't want to rule him out here. But I think one thing that's really important for Team 53 is those early picks. The rounds that they have lost players early have just generally not panned out well for them, so they need successful roaming here. And Hamio again on this Jaeger, it's going to be on the back of him. He has rotated off his roam pretty early, back over to the armory side. There's not a whole lot of utility over that side to help him hold it, so it'd be interesting to see how long he sticks this.
You can see Anglo just retaking the ground there. As unfortunate for Hamio, you were exactly right. He does have to give up that roam very early. And look at all this control that Cryptic's just been gifted off the back of that one over towards security. They can really begin to set themselves up here for a bit of vertical play, making their way down to the site, set up some rotations as they get ready to bust their way into armory at the same time.
Yeah, and this roam clear looking very efficient so far from Cryptic. Using quite a bit of utility to achieve it though, so that could come back to bite them later on this execute. But Serum has found a great position here in the office, looking to use the defender's punch hole, cut this rotate in the armory. But these defenders have basically backed off. It's actually all on Johnstar in the archives section.
Oh, that's so good
big C4 though.
Bit of classy information there for him. Keeps the 5-on-3 up, but Anglo holding the line there. Cuts off that man trying to double back. And in fact, Cryptic find themselves with an advantage. It's the 4-on-3 in their favor, I should be saying, as Johnstar's still on this upstairs roam. Does need to play an important role here in the late stage of the round. He can potentially shut down a couple of these hits coming in there. Good damage done. Won't quite find himself the frag, and that's a massive whiff from him. Ooh. Gives Serum the frag and a 4-on-2. This is going to be a tough defense now for Prax and Hamio.
It's the thing about engaging with a gridlock is, man, she can eat those bullets, and that's exactly what she did to get that kill. Perexy does find Hotshot through the beams, though, making it a 2 versus 3, so it's still doable for Team 53 as the time is ticking away from Team Cryptic. They will have to get an execute happening as there is only 30 seconds to go in this round.
Yeah, the clearance coming in towards the B site. Couple of smokes deployed. They're going to go for the attempt to defuse plant, but Prax just pushes in very quickly. That spray comes back in from Serum. Cameo now left in a 1 versus 2 once more, but that spray in from above there. It's going to be Serum cleaning up the round and the game. A 2-0 there for Cryptic as they take the second map 7-2, much like the first.
Yeah, very much like the first in terms of scoreline and the way it played out. Team 53 definitely had their moments. Some shining light that worked out for them, but Cryptic just too strong and too experienced for Team 53 to really be able to compete with. And look at JCZ and Serum going off for their team there, both on 11 kills, and that's a strong 2 maps for them.
It was a fantastic couple of maps for those boys. You know, just a cameo there from Sphinx there, 10 frags for himself on the second map. Coming from such a scoreline like that, a 7-2 line, that's, a high impact for him at the very least. And they'll gain a lot of experience, playing out the rest of these games in the Challenger League. And they'll learn a lot as they, want to set themselves up for their best chance of making Pro League in the upcoming season. But in saying that, that is Team Cryptic keeping themselves in the hunt for that coveted Pro League spot.
They are, and that really makes Thursday all the more interesting. They have a game against Rhythm now, and that means that these two teams are both tied on 16 points. So it's basically whoever gets the most points out of that matchup. It's 2 maps, of course. Whoever gets the most points will basically secure that second position in Pro League. So that's going to be a pretty hectic, insane match. So you guys definitely don't want to miss that game on Thursday.
Yeah, it also just comes down to Homeless really have to fall off the horse to sort of give this one up at the same time. So I think, we're seeing it start to shape up quite nicely, but Thursday, absolutely tasty prospect. Are there any final thoughts coming off the back of that best of 2 there, mate?
Look, Cryptic still look pretty good. They definitely look hungry for their chance at Pro League, so I'd be keeping an eye on them. But yeah, we're at the tail end of the season. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room, and Cryptic have to be perfect from here on out.
So we wish them the best of luck in the upcoming games, and thank you all for tuning in at home and online and the like. It's been an absolutely fantastic evening of action. A couple of pretty good games. Any final words for the fans, Raven?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Challenger League is only heating up. Obviously, we are at the end of the season, so it's really where points matter. You don't want to miss the next couple of Playdays. Playday tomorrow and Playday Thursday, that'll close it out. And 2 teams will make it to Pro League, so I think it's really important that people are tuning in so they know what these teams are like coming into next season.
Yes, very tasty prospects for the last couple of Playdays. But that'll be all from us tonight. This has been my dear friend Raven as my co-host. I've been Matty B. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to everyone in production and all you guys at home. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.